One of her followers also follows me and takes it and tweets it to me and goes, "Hey Scott, what do you think?" I'm like, "Oh, giddy up." And I take it and I retweet it to, at the time, 120,000 people, and it hit their Facebook page with over 100 people placing that receipt on the Papa John's official page. This was on a Saturday. Do you know what their reply was that day? Their official response? Nothing. It was Saturday. Nobody home. Outrage does not take a weekend off. And usually, if it's a geek running the outrage, we have more time on the weekend. We don't have friends. We just hang out ourselves. We take a break from Halo 4, and we go and spread the crap. That's what we do. That's what I do, at least. Turn off World of Warcraft for a second. I go and stir up some crap on Twitter. I go back to over here, and that's what I do. That's how we do this, right? The Geek-a-Lanch rolls when we want it to. That's how this stuff works. So we need to keep an ear out for these things, because they happen all the time. Here's an example of a tweet during the American elections. During the debate, this guy tweets, "Obama's grandma even knew it was going to be bad. She died 3 days before he became president," and had the hashtag. Now, if you guys who are in this room doesn't use Twitter, that's considered a hashtag at the end. So that would go into the chat for anybody talking about the debate, and some of this makes it on TV. So, I don't care what political affiliation you have. I don't care if this is America or this is Canada. I'm not even political at all. And this is just a prick, right? This is just not a nice person. Until you realize who tweeted it. Yeah. So the guy who tweets this, who tweets sometimes for KitchenAid, had on his phone 2 accounts, and he forgot to switch it from his business one to the personal one. I assume his personal one is named Asshole, and it just didn't work. So now here's the $1 million question. Here's a question for my social media freaks like me in the audience. What would you do? If you were running this account, what would you do at the end of this? And what can we do? How could you damage control? Once it's out, you can't change the fact this is out of the bag now, right? So they deleted it quickly, 4 minutes. They deleted it. I already took a screenshot. So, but what your job is in PR, I really think PR no longer stands for public relations. I think it stands for people react. And you need to be ready for these things. People reach out, people respond, people react. And our job, and I think PR and social in general, is to be out there for that. And so what we need to do and understand something is, you need to understand that concept of third circle I talked about. You need to catch the viral before it hits third circle. So if you're going to do an apology, you need to make it quickly, because content spreads differently now. What happens is content spreads through social first, or through a small blog, which hits social. Then it hits the bigger blog. So it goes through social, Twitter, Facebook, and then it hits a bigger blog, Huffington Post, Gawker, those other things. And then it hits the mainstream media. Then it hits CNN. And you knew this tweet was going to hit all those levels. But they were so fast, in 4 minutes they replied, "Deepest apologies for an irresponsible tweet that is no way a representation of the brand's opinion," and the hashtag again. So the difference here is how quickly she reacted. She who runs the team, she reacts and puts it out there. So when this hit the big blogs, which it did, when this hit CNN, which it did, the apology went with it. Does that make sense? The apology caught the viral. And I've been doing viral for over 10 years now. This is where you want the talent, this is it. This is why sometimes you want somebody else helping with social so they can watch for this. Because you're busy doing your job, is running your business. Somebody can watch this for you. It's very important. And this goes out there. Now here's the thing, she was interviewed. So she didn't have to be interviewed as much, because the apology went with it. When she was interviewed, they said, "So what have you done?" I'm like, "Well, we took the guy off, we did this, we took him off Twitter for us." "Oh, yeah, wow, really?" Congratulations. That's an Einstein move. Maybe you should fire him. This is not a social media problem. This is a hiring problem. You need to get rid of this person. And any company that says, "We don't want our employees tweeting with our company name because we don't trust them," then they shouldn't work for you. If you don't trust somebody, they should not work for you. And I do not believe in a bio. And you've seen it on Twitter. Sometimes you've seen bios with the phrase, "Tweets are my own." You ever seen this? Or "Tweets do not reflect my employer." I saw a company account 2 days ago from a gardening, a landscaping nursery of the gardening company. It said, "Tweets do not reflect the company." What? That's your account. And I've always seen, I used to write policy in HR. I used to write employee policy. And a lot of social media policies now say you must have on your Twitter account, if you're going to use one, "Tweets are my own," or "Tweets do not represent the company." That is stupid, and that is dangerous. Why? Stupid, because your employees do represent your company in everything they say and do, if they disclose where they work. And sometimes even when they don't disclose it, they still can find out. Your company, your employees are your brand. So yes, it is a reflection of your company. And two, why it's dangerous, if you put that disclaimer, they have the false sense of freedom of speech. And what I mean by that is that freedom of speech is not what people think it is. You don't have freedom to tweet racist or stupid or homophobic or any kind of remarks because it does reflect the company. You know what you should have a policy saying? You know what you should make employees say? Tweets are reflective of my company because my company values its employees. Here's your policy. I just wrote it for you, by the way. There you go. No charge. That's your entirely new policy right there. That's how it shows you the impact. Instead of trying to make your employees shut up, educate them on what the impact of what they say is. Educate them on how much they influence the brand. Say one simple line to them. Don't ever say, text, or tweet, or Facebook, or email anything you don't want to see on a billboard with your face, our logo, our phone number, and our best client, your boss, and your mom driving by. End the story. Done. That's it. That's your golden rule right there. You can use that too, no charge. So, when things are going up, like what happened with Sandy, you know, with the Superstorm and Hurricane Sandy that happened, here's the Gap's response to it. All impacted by Sandy, stay safe. We'll be doing lots of Gap.com shopping today. How about you? And they checked in on Foursquare with the storm. What a bunch of pricks. When I look at this, I'm like, what is... Every incident in the world is not an opportunity to market. Stop it. Stop this. People sat around a table or a desk and said, I have a good idea, and did this. You know what you do when there's a natural disaster? Shut up. Or help. This tweet, go with that first sentence, and that's it. All of impacted by it, stay safe. Our thoughts are with you. Or, we will do everything we can to help. Or, we've opened our 2 stores on Broadway and 43rd in New York. Come in if you need shelter. Or, we will donate clothes, khakis. We will donate clothes to anybody who needs them. That's what we do as a brand. But even Canadian ones, even our own companies are saying, what's scarier, Hurricane Sandy or a beverage with marshmallow eyeballs? What's wrong with people? What is scarier? A hurricane? Or a googly eye recipe? Somebody thought this was smart. And this is what happened. That tweet goes out and people are like, pretty sure a storm that's killed people is worse. That's brutal. These guys suck. Whoever has the keys to the Twitter account should know better than tweeting out jokes. And the bottom one, you can't see it, it goes, hi, I'm trapped at home with no power and no food. And he's getting mad at them. The greatest thing is this guy has no power, he's in the middle of a hurricane, he's tweeting, which is awesome. I love it. I love that. People say Twitter, the tweets don't mean much, right? Every time I see President's Choice or the Gap now, I think this. Just like every time I see Ritz-Carlton, I think Joshi. Good or bad, we affect brands by everything we do. Yes, 99.9% of tweets are of the mundane, of the boring, and nobody cares. And then you do this. It has impact. 140 characters can affect 140 years of a brand. One thing. If I look at that, it will affect me. It does affect me. It may affect you now. Or maybe you don't care. It's up to you. But it affects me. It affects me on a huge, huge level that you need to be able to understand. Before I want to give you one more example before I get to the next one about what it means to me by just one little tweet can change it. You saw the Virgin Mobile one, right? You can see it change the bottom line. There's another example. I was taking a flight. I was back in Newark again, or LaGuardia. And I was connecting. I was going through Delta. I got to security early because I'm Canadian. So I got there, and I lined up early, and I got there. And they started letting everybody on through the security quicker who was had late for their flights. And 45 minutes, I finally get to the front, and I'm putting my bin into the x-ray machine. I'm disrobing, I'm getting ready to go through this thing. And just then, 9 flight attendants show up. Right? Have you ever been in security near the front when flight attendants show up? Right? They're allowed to go right through, right? Now, I understand why. They're going to get there, the plane, I get that. But understand one thing, but the first rule of Flight Club is that the plane will not take off without the flight attendants. It will take off without me, all right? So I'm not sure about that prioritization, how that works. So as I'm waiting there, they have priority, but that does not excuse you from manners. I don't care who you are, where you're from, or what you've done. There's no excuse for not having some manners and general politeness with another human being. My mama raised me right. Please, thank you, excuse me. That's how we roll. So these guys come up and they literally all hip check me to get into the bin and security. Canadian, I understand hip checks, okay? These people are like Gordy frickin' Howe coming off the line to me here, pushing me through. And by the 7th person, I had enough. And I said, come on. And the 7th woman was there, and she says something under her breath. I can't hear her, but apparently she said, excuse me, after I got angry. And she turns around, and I'm like, just an excuse me would be nice. And she looks at me and she goes, I said, excuse me. And I looked at her and I said, I didn't hear you. And then she looks at me and says, well, open your ears. And I just looked at her. Do you know who I am? What did you say? She's like, I said, excuse me. I said, excuse me. And on her collar, she's got a big Delta, sign of their company. I'm like, and I get through security and I'm done. I am furious walking out of this place. I get out of there, so what do? I gotta tweet this. I solely have Twitter to complain about these things, right? And I'm so angry, I want everything in return to make this up. I want a plane. I want my face on a plane. I want Delta changed to Scott. I want the president's chair, and I want unlimited pretzels. Of any flight I go on. And I tweet, Delta, thanks so much for the flight attendant who hip-checked me and then told me to open my ears. And I sent it. And I'm like, oh, I hate Delta. My kids are never going to fly Delta. Their children are never going to fly Delta. It'd be like a generational embargo on this company. Never. And 3 minutes later, Delta replies, oh, wow. I don't care what kind of day somebody's having. There's no excuse to be rude. I am so sorry. And the initial signed by the person, not we're sorry, I'm so sorry, and signed by the person, Kelly, something. And she tweets it to me. And I see it, I'm like, oh, okay. Thank you. And in my rage from the first tweet, I misspelled Delta. I was so angry, I was blinded by it, and I spelled it Detla. And they still found it. They have so many people yelling at them in blind rage that they have a search set up for Detla on their screen. And I went from furious to wanting my own fleet of planes to like, I tweeted back, I can't be mad anymore. Thank you so much. They were back, you're welcome. I got on the plane. Instead of just ready to pounce on it. And the thing is, my buddy Mike Mitch drove was great author. He wrote a 6 Pixel Separation. Canadian, I got from Montreal, a new book coming out, great guy. And I was on his podcast a few weeks ago, and he read my books, and he's like, but he's an agency guy, big brand guy, and he's like, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, of course, yeah. Who cares? Who cares? Does that affect their bottom line at all, their $1 billion bottom line? At all? I said, well, I don't know if it affects $1 billion of it, but I know 2 days later, I had a choice between a direct American flight and a direct Delta flight to Dallas. And I picked Delta. And that was worth $680 to them. So I don't know if it's going to affect their $1 million down the road. I know it affected my purchasing decision. One tweet, 80 characters, changed my mind. It has an effect, right? It has an effect. To a furious, entitled social media person like me, it flipped my mind around. When you see somebody complain about potentially your brand, they don't want usually what they're demanding. They just want to be heard. They just want to be acknowledged. I phoned Bell once, and I've given Bell more money than my house. I phoned Bell once though. I phoned them, and I was so angry, rightfully so. I'm like, I lost the signal again, and they lost all the voicemails. I called them like, you suck at this. The girl picks up when she's talking, she's like, that does suck. I'm sorry. I would be totally angry too. I get it. I'm gonna do whatever I can to help you. Okay. And I'm fine again. And just like that T-Mobile one, right? People say, well, who cares? I'm in the market for a US-based cell phone. Why? Have you ever gone to the States with your Canadian phone? The roaming charges you get for these things? You buy a new car monthly with what the roaming charges are for that thing. So I'm in the market for it. right? I'm in the market for one. I won't go T-Mobile because that's the brand in my head. There is an effect. Will it affect a million people? No. It affects me and possibly some other people. I cannot think we're in a world where being a jerk to your customers is good. I don't want to live in that world. I think there is an effect with these things. Here's a great example of recovery as well. Here's a famous video from a year ago from FedEx. Anybody see this video last year? The FedEx guy is chucking a package over a fence, which happens to be a computer monitor, right? Even if he was shipping styrofoam to somebody, he still shouldn't be throwing the box over a fence. He didn't ring the buzzer, he didn't knock on a door, he chucked it and walked away. Right? And the guy who's a geek like me is, of course, recording via condo camera, so he's got all this on film. First question, can the FedEx truck be parked any better in the frame, right? It's like a UPS guy pulled that in there, right? We got 2 logos in the shot, we're good. All right, let's do this. The guy uploads a video, gets 1 million views in 12 hours, thing gets rocking. Why? Because we've all been, cracked on by delivery one way or the other like this. And so what happens is FedEx replies though the same day, and they reply first with a blog post reply, a statement from the company. And the title of the blog post is the greatest blog post title I've ever seen in my life. And the title was "Absolutely, Positively, Unacceptable." Absolutely, period. Positively, period. Unacceptable, period. I'm just like, oh, well played. And there was a video underneath it from Matthew Thornton, the frickin' third. We are not messing around here. It was the senior VP of FedEx Express US operation, and he makes a video looking right into the camera saying, well, pretty much, we screwed up, and I'm sorry. And a great blog post of what they're doing and how this does not represent all their employees, but also how they're going to look and investigate this employee first before they throw him under the bus, but they're going to do stuff. They fix it, they send him a new monitor, blah, 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 blah. And then they let the comments open for anybody to comment. Like, that alone is mind-blowing. And over the hundreds and hundreds of comments on the first day, 98% of those comments were positive. This made, to me, I can't speak for anybody else, this made FedEx, to me, look better than they did before the screw-up. Think about that line for 1 second. They made themselves look better than they did before the screw-up because they were in my front of mind and they made it right. That's the difference. When it hits the fan, it's not time to hide behind the fan. It's time to be awesome. You can't change the fact that you're in the spotlight now. You can't change the response. As long as you do it quickly. PR to me now is about response time and authenticity. How quickly. We don't have 4 days to come up with a press release. We don't have a week to talk to our board. We need to react. We need to react properly and well, okay? Here's the last example I want to give you guys. Here's a tweet from Men's Humor. It says, this morning I gave birth to a food baby, and I think Taco Bell is the father. Which is amazing. And then Taco Bell replies, I want a DNA test. Thank you so much, Salmon Arm, for coming. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I love you guys, thank you. It's a wonderful place. This is awesome. We did the stage too. Any questions? We got time? We got done. Yeah, I got time. Any questions? All your questions? I can't see you, but I can. Questions? Hi, I can see you guys. Do you have any questions? I'm going to kneel down here because it's not awkward at all, but I need some water. Got questions? Go. Come on. You have the obsessed tweetaholic in front of you. Let's talk afterward. Anybody? Pretend to ask a question. Give me a softball. Give me something here.
Yeah, well, that's why I got a question for you.
All right, cool.
I got a courier ship order. We're talking putting QR codes on our sticker.
You should probably stop talking.
So
Okay, yep.
so the Sunday shopper comes by,
Yep.
reading about the car. You see the guy have a QR code on the label, the price label.
Hang on a second. Let me get you. Answer. No. But here's the thing. If you put it on a sticker on the window, somebody doesn't take away from everything else. There's not much harm in it if it works. But here's the deal. I do think the potential is great. I think the potential is great for car dealerships to have just more of a spec sheet I can get out of there. Video, more pictures, but I'm just sending the car, what many pictures, I'm sending right there. But I also see like real estate, and I see realtors using it all the time. Anybody heard of real estate? Anybody here? Good. So I see realtors use it all the time on their for sale signs, and I scan them because I have no life when I do these things. So I go and scan them all, and every one I've scanned on a sign will go to the generic site of the realtor. And it'll be a site that doesn't work well on a phone, or it's flash-based. Why? You're taking up this real estate on it. If I was a realtor, right? But I can never be a realtor because I hate people. But you gotta like them first. You gotta pretend to like them, right? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying, right? So if I was a realtor using QR codes, what I would do is make a QR code for each property and come to a mobile info site, one page, and say the specs of the home, and have an ability, one button phone me, one button text me, one button email me, and the story. I've seen one realtor ever do that. One, and I've got a lot of realtors angry in my past few years, and one have done it right. And I've seen it good a couple uses. I bought fireworks from Canada today. I went to buy them at one of the big party places. It was Kaboom Fireworks, right? And I went in, and one of the only good uses of QR code I ever saw was on the box of the fireworks. And it said, scan here to see the firework. And I'm like, what? And I scan it, and a video that plays on my phone pops up, and it shows how the firework explodes in a video. I'm like, you're the greatest thing ever. And I bought like every firework in the store. Because before that, I had to light them in the store just to see if they It's all right, it's all right. You got a fire extinguisher? It's okay. But see, that's good. So I'm not, but if you're gonna do them, understand people are scanning them with their phone. It needs to be phone friendly, and a huge part of it is not gonna have a lot of people using it. And the problem is an agency will sell you on it or something, and they'll sell you on a real high price, when in reality your usage will be really low. So you've gotta have the right medium for them. Will it hurt you? No, it'll look cool. But if I come to your lot, man, and they ain't working right, I'm gonna tweet it. And then you're gonna be angry. So it's good, it's an optimal thing. But again, a lot of dealerships using it for the sake of using it. It doesn't work that well. It really doesn't. Especially if I'm already there. I got the info's on the window, but it's all right there for me that I really need, right? So, no, I wouldn't do it. It's some of my personal advice. Anyway, any other great question though? Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, just curious what your thoughts are on the being involved with, if you're not on social media and your business obviously isn't, what's your thoughts on being, I guess, you don't ever have a chance to respond.
Yep.
If you're not on Twitter,
Yep.
and someone's, you're getting wrecked on Twitter,
Yep.
you don't have any recourse and you can't be around. So what are your thoughts as far as other social media mediums, being on Pinterest and Google Plus, if you're not currently there, should you spread out?
Yeah, great question.
Yeah.
I just know that. It's a great question. We get a couple questions where you're not there, plus also should you try to get everywhere? And I really should have brought this up. That social media is not about being everywhere, it's about being creative where you are. And we are spreading ourselves too thin. I think even us in the industry are spread too thin. We spend a whole freaking day just going from each site, logging and checking it. 7 hours. Like, what happened? My day's over. I don't think you need to be everywhere. I really don't. We all have our personal preferences. I think we have the talented social media consultants out there will help a brand find their talents and match the right site with them. But also find out where their market is and see where they're talking. So if you're not on Twitter, people complaining on it, you need to get on there. You need to listen. And you got to pick it. I don't want to be everywhere. I spent that time on Twitter. I actually spent really 6 months focused on just Twitter. I'd rather you shut down a couple of sites or put them on hold and build up one. Because I built up Twitter, and then I built up the next one, and then I built up the next one, but it was never at once. Because once I built Twitter, then I could leave it. You saw that graph, I went down, number of tweets per month afterwards, because I could take momentum to go. To the point now where I have a lot of momentum. I don't have to reply a lot on Twitter now to get tweets going, but I do still, because I love it, I think it's the point. I grew. So I don't, I went on Google Plus because I was told I have to, because it's my business. And I don't like it. I don't understand it, actually, right? I understand how it works. I have 10,000 people circle me. I'm not sure what that means. But 10,000 people circle me, I don't really get it. And I have social media. That's what I do. I'm one of the biggest fanboys you find in the country for social, and I don't get it. And Google Plus came out in the summer and said 60% of our users log on daily, and 80% of over 100 million users log in weekly. And I'm like, who the hell's on there? I see the same 7 people on there all the time. They're logging in a lot. And then what I realized was I dug deeper, and that's a really important thing to remember when you see a stat, dig deeper. We're very, myself included, we're very easy to jump on the headline data, like one stat, like, oh god, Pinterest sends more referral traffic than Google and Facebook and Jesus, and we have to be on there, so let's go, and we run, and I dug deeper on the Google Plus stats, and what really actually the stat was they consider Google Plus a layer, which I think is French for bullshit. And what they meant was, this layer means it's a layer over all Google services. So if you log into Google, if you ever logged into actually Google, and you use any of their sites, it counts as a Google Plus login. If you use Gmail, it counts as Google Plus. If you use one of their other sites, like, I don't know, Google, it counts as a login. If you use YouTube, it counts as you're watching Gangnam Style for the 700th time. That's 700 Google Plus logins for you there, kids. So the stat was actually a lie. But that would persuade brands to have to go to Google Plus. And I heard people say, use Google Plus because it's SEO, search engine optimization friendly. And it's really good for search engines. If you're using social media to be good at search engines, you're doing social really wrong. It's like walking to a networking event and only talking in keywords. Real estate, cheap real estate, good homes, Okanagan, it's salmon, it's cheap real estate, condos, apartments, rentals. Hey, I'm Scott, what do you do? Apartments, real estate, what? Cheap, good rankings, just stop. You know what? My best SEO technique, best search engine technique for you guys is great content. Great content, people will link to it, people will share it, and that will increase your value in the rankings. So at the end of the day, you look at your demographics, look at your geographics, and find out where they are. And then keep your ear to the ground. Like there are a couple good ways to keep your ear to the ground as social, where you can use listening tools that you pay for, Radiant 6, Expion, Vocus, stuff like that will read your reports, but sometimes it's price prohibitive for a lot of people. I use Google News Alert. So if you go to news.google.com or google.com/news, there's a thing that says News Alert. Click on that, and then put in your company name, or your product name if it's a unique name, put it in quotes, a phrase, and every day Google emails me where I've been mentioned. Anywhere on the internet, blogs, Twitter. Facebook's different because Facebook's closed. So unless they're linking you to their update, like their brand page, or they post on your page, you will not see their personal update. Twitter's much more open and different that way. So I'll get I won't get a lot of tweets, but because I see them on Twitter, but I get that every day. It's free. It's the best tool in the world to keep your ear to the ground. And plus to find people who blog about you. And I think those are people you want to give a high five back to. Right? I really think so. See on Twitter, if you're not there and you're like, I don't use it, but your customers are, you're missing the high fives. And there's nothing worse in life than leaving somebody hanging on a high five, right? It makes them look stupid, doesn't it? Like, I remember the first brand that returned the high five to me, and it was 2008. And I wrote about Cirque du Soleil, we were talking about that before. Cirque du Soleil, that I didn't even put at Cirque, I just put that I love Cirque. I love Cirque shows. I've been to 15 of them. I love Cirque. There's some amazing shows. I just put that. I love Cirque shows. Anybody else? And Cirque wrote me back 5 minutes later and said, thanks. We love us too. They liked me. They really liked me. And that had an effect. Right? And if you have customers, and I see that with other authors, including myself, I try to really reply to people. I really try. Because if I'm on a plane for like 14 hours from Istanbul, I miss a lot of tweets. And that problem I have. But I dig my own hole because if somebody writes to me and says, I love your book, and I miss it, and they say it again, it's a great book, and I miss it, what do you think happens? They start to resent me. And you get brand resent starting to build in. So if you open that Twitter door,